And we are going live. And we are live. Hey, how you doing, old guy? Hello? Are you there? Do you not have your mic turned on? Good morning. Anyway, there he is.
Okay, there I am.
There he is. Now we can hear him.
Cheese and crackers. So what's up, buddy?
Well, not much. It's been a morning already. And I am glad that I mean, it's like let's see, this is Monday, so this is sort of like Friday, Thursday and Friday where I got busy doing other things and things that absolutely had to be done. And next thing I know, I'm looking at the clock and it's like, oh crap, I'm running late. So the stream starts late, but well,
It's the way things go sometimes.
sometimes responsibilities kick in and you got no choice as far as what goes on or how you do it.
Yeah, I got a bunch of those coming up at me here pretty quick. I got a quote unquote vacation. I don't know if that's a valid word for anymore, being retired. I don't know that vacation actually works anymore.
Okay, well, are you leaving the house?
Yes.
Is it for more than 24 hours?
Yes.
Then are you planning on spending lots of money that you really don't want to spend, but you're going to spend it anyway?
I wouldn't go as far as that I don't want to spend.
I'm not saying you're not planning on spending it, but if you had your druthers, you'd rather not spend it.
No, I know I'm going to be spending lots of money. There's no way around it.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, like I said, you got no choice. You're going to spend the money, but if you had your druthers, you'd rather leave it in your bank account.
Well, it's kind of hard to drive all the way across the country and leave all your money in your bank account.
I know it is. Yeah, I believe me. I love having my sister fly down from Ohio every year. Okay, for Thanksgiving. And I foot the bill for that. And this year I did it really early, and it only cost me $900.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
From Ohio to the Panhandle.
Round trip tickets.
Not $900?
Yep.
Coach?
No, she can't fly coach. She has to fly business.
Oh, okay. Seems awfully expensive. I mean, I understand airfare. Don't get me wrong. I've been flying a lot. I mean, not lately, just a lot in general.
Last year it cost me almost $1,200.
I got round trip first class on Delta from Seattle to Greenville, South Carolina for $1,200.
Well, you also have to understand these are small airports. So, it's not like you're flying from a major airport to a major airport.
Oh, no, we either have to fly to Detroit or to Atlanta and get on a little plane and go.
Right. Well, she's flying from a small airport to Charleston, then from Charleston to another small airport.
Yeah. But I was looking at a one-way ticket to Atlanta in January. First class, $800.
Oh, nice.
As a matter of fact, when I was booking this trip, at one point in time, I saw one way in coach as low as $200.
Mm.
And I was just like, ooh, I should buy that because I
All
have
right.
a $200 credit.
Oh, nice. Nice,
But I
nice.
wound up getting a different ticket and then said bucket and upgraded it to first
Yeah.
class.
My sister's got bad knees, so she can't sit too cramped like you'd be sitting in coach. She's got to be able to stretch her legs out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
So,
being 6'3", I fully get that.
oh yeah, I'm 6'3" also, so I'm a and I'm a lot more comfortable flying business than I am flying coach. You know, the the legs, the knees just don't handle being bent that long at that angle that long anymore.
Yeah. Well, I don't foresee myself flying. I mean, I'm obviously I'm going in 2 weeks and again in January, but at best I may fly maybe 3 more times, 4 more times the rest of my life.
Yeah. I
There's no reason why I wouldn't fly first class.
Right.
I can afford it. There's no
Well, I
reason why I'm not going to.
oh that yeah, definitely. I foresee me flying 3 more times in my lifetime. Once for my father-in-law's funeral, once for my sister's funeral, and once for my brother's funeral, and
Uh,
that'll be about it.
if Well, the only one I know I'm going to have to go back for is my uncle's funeral. Uh, there are a couple others, but I don't know that I'll be notified of. Very,
Right.
very long time friends of the family, 50 years. More, you know, I was like 10 years old when I met him. But yeah, other than my uncle, I will probably go see my brother 1 or 2 more times because he
Right.
always comes up here to go skiing.
Right.
So he can fly. I don't have to. And I think, to be honest, I I I would probably drive. I mean, I've driven across the country twice,
Mm-hmm.
and both times was kind of a we have to get there rather than a let's just go. I want to go see my brother. Hey, I'll be
Right.
down there in a week or two.
Okay.
And then just drive and stop and see things.
Yeah. We may decide the wife and I may when we have to go up for funerals or whatever, we may decide to drive. I'm thinking about it because we'd have to have a vehicle while we're there. Wouldn't want to have to depend on family to get us around.
Right, right. Well,
So, and I mean,
I
it's only a 16-hour drive one way or another, so it's not that bad for, with two of us driving. We could make that straight through. Yeah, we could make that straight through.
16 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because
Alternating off.
I was like, I've done it in 5 to Panama to Atlanta, but I don't recommend that. Um, and then it's another 2 to Hartwell, so that would be 7, and then another 6 to 7 up to Ohio. Yeah, okay, I could see it. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we've driven uh, the we've driven it 3 or 4 times in the 30 years we've been down here, and it's never taken us longer than 16 hours to drive. A lot of times, though, we would split it in half and stop at, say, in Lexington,
Yeah.
and spend the night in Lexington. There, just by the was it the Triple H or Triple T truck stop there on
Uh,
75 going north.
I think it's a Triple H truck stop.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
a huge truck stop. I mean, it would make Bucky's look small.
Well, and I even posted it up on Twitter, and surprisingly, nobody even responded. But I mean, I don't have that many followers, so no big deal.
Right.
But I even said, "Hey, I'm driving across the country sometime late October, early November. I don't know what route I'm taking. I could take 20, I could take 40, 70, or 90.
Right.
Those are my only choices. Given that we're getting towards winter, 90 is kind of starting to not be in the picture because I'm in a two-wheel drive truck. So now I'm looking at 70 and 40. 20 is that's a long way through Texas.
Yeah. Well,
At
I
least
mean,
40, I can go through the panhandle and it'll only take a week.
can't you drive for 24 hours and still be in Texas?
Just about. The last
Yeah,
time I drove
I've
through
heard
the
people say
panhandle,
that.
the last time I drove through the panhandle, I no joke, I didn't think I was ever getting out of Texas. And I drove through the smallest part. They have buttloads of nothing in Texas.
Really?
I mean, they have more nothing than anything else. I swore I drove by the same rock 3 times.
That's how I felt when I drove from Luke to Bakersfield.
I even pointed it out to the wife. I swear I've been by that rock.
When I drove from Luke Air Force Base there in Phoenix to Bakersfield, California,
Yeah.
I was taking a friend of mine home to visit his family, and his card broke down. So I went, he said he'd foot the gas bill. So I took a week's leave. I had nothing to do, and we drove and went across that Mojave there or whatever that desert is, and
Yeah.
uh, to Bakersfield, California, and it was like okay. And he went out and got me. He and his family went out and got me drunk at a bar that the lead singer sang to me, and I was like, well, spotlight on me, and I'm like, okay, 18, 19 years old, and I've got a male singer on his knees in front of me singing to me.
Yeah.
It's like, no, especially one fresh off the farm, not really that experienced with a lot of this stuff.
They're going, dude, that's gay.
Yeah. Yeah. And they did it on purpose,
Oh, yeah.
Turned out that the band were friends of theirs and they just set me up.
Wouldn't expect any less.
So, yeah. Friends do that to friends,
Yeah, no. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things I'd like to see around the country.
All right.
But and thinking about it, most of the stuff I really want to see, I'm going to have the opportunity to see it while I'm skiing in January, February, March.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I want to go see Yellowstone. Well, our first stop is Big Sky, which is about 30 miles from Yellowstone. 40, 50, it may even be an hour, but it's right there.
Right.
So,
Well, it's like when I went to Four Corners.
yeah.
I mean, I wanted to go to Four Corners just to say that I'd been there.
Yeah. Well, when my brother and I went to go see David Gilmour in LA 2 years ago, or was that last year? Anyway, I met him in Vegas. And before we left to go to LA, we drove out of Vegas to see Hoover Dam and then to go see the Grand Canyon.
Right.
You can't see the Grand Canyon coming out of Vegas. No, I'm serious. It's all protected land on the west side of the Grand Canyon.
Oh, I did not know that.
It's all Indian land, and you have to pay, I won't say big money, but you got to pay money to go see the Grand Canyon. There is no public viewing on the west side of the Grand Canyon.
Oh, okay.
So you have to go to the east side, the south side, or the north side to be able to actually go, I saw the Grand Canyon and I didn't have to pay for it. I was most bummed. I mean, because then it's not a short drive from Vegas. It's like 2.5 hours to get to the Grand Canyon. And yeah, we just turned around and went back to Vegas, got our shit, and headed out. But we'll be coming at the Grand Canyon from the north, so I'll get a chance to stop by and see the Grand Canyon. I've been through the Mojave Desert, so I got to see that. I have seen Crater Lake, but when I saw it was during fire season. And at the time, there were a lot of forest fires around. As a matter of fact, I actually drove through 2 of them to get to Crater Lake. It's awesome. I'd love to see it when it's clear. But, I'd like to see Mount Rushmore. I'd like to see the Badlands of South Dakota. I'd love to see that big-ass freaking tunnel in Colorado that's like 2.5 miles long.
And drive through it.
Yeah, but also things like the Arch in St. Louis. I've seen it. I've been inside it. Not a big deal. Chicago, been there. Most everything Mississippi and east of, I've done. It's all the stuff out west or in the Midwest that I've not done.
Okay.
And that's kind of what I was like. If people give me some ideas, then that's kind of the route I may wind up taking, because these are things that I would like to see. And I have no time frame. Well, I do have a time frame of when I have to be back. I have to be back before Thanksgiving.
Right. The only thing I've really got on my bucket list that is, I know it's pretty much unreachable, would be I've been wanting to take my wife to Germany, to the areas of Germany I had been. Take her down there in the fall for the Rhine of Flame. Get her on the boat that travels from end to end of the Rhine.
Yeah. Oh man, that sounds like a blast.
And what during the Rhine of Flame, what it is they've set fireworks off at all the castles as the boats go by them.
Nice.
Okay, and it's an all-night trip. So from one end to the other, and then the next day you come back during the daytime, but most people sleep
Right, right, because they've been up all night.
because you've been up all night, so you sleep during most of the trip back. Uh, and I mean, there's meals and wine and beer and everything else on that boat all night long. It's just one huge party. Uh, then take her down to where I was stationed at, and down to see the castles that I saw, and I'd like to see them again. Uh, and just down to Eberprum and Unterprum, and uh, the different little villages,
Yeah, yeah.
and and it would take about a month-long trip, because I wouldn't want, first of all, it'd be a lot of traveling, and second of all, I wouldn't want to rush it.
Sure. Which is why I'm saying I do have a deadline, but I'm giving myself 4 weeks. My wife is coming down 4th through the 18th, and I have to be back before Thanksgiving, the 18th of October. So
Good,
I have
good.
4 weeks of November and a week and a half, 2 weeks of October.
Good morning, Ramen.
Morning, Ramen.
And what is it with old people in Vegas? I don't know if it's what it's like anymore. I
Oh,
know
it sucks.
20 years ago, uh, a lot of free or very inexpensive food. If you got to the right places, you could stay fairly cheaply.
Airfare was always cheap, but back in 20 years ago, you could
Right.
fly from anywhere in the continental United States for $99.
To Vegas.
Yep, anywhere.
Yep.
$99 one way.
And uh there was just, and then you had all the shows, and now the shows ended up were would cost you money, but there was a lot of shows like I mean, back then 20 years ago, oh god, the gay pianist,
Liberace.
Liberace, right. Liberace shows were always sold out.
Well, and the Bengal Tiger guys.
Right. The Germans
Yeah.
with their white tigers. And weren't they gay also?
I don't recall.
Sigmund and Freud?
For some reason, I think they were.
Yeah. For some reason, I think they were gay. I think they were a couple.
But
But
it matters not. I mean,
yeah, it didn't matter at all. I mean, except for the fact it was amazing 20, 30 years ago. I mean, Liberace 50 years ago I mean, and everybody knew he was as queer as a $3 bill. There's an old phrase.
well,
Uh,
same with Elton.
but everybody knew he was gay, but they didn't care because he put on a hell of a show.
Well, Liberace, Elton
Yeah,
John, Freddie Mercury, David Bowie. I mean, come on.
right.
They didn't care.
Well, they
It
didn't
wasn't
make it.
something they promoted
It wasn't their
in their
life. That
show. Yeah,
right. They weren't. I'm Liberace and I'm gay.
it's who they were, not what they were.
Right. And what Liberace was one hell of a performer and a piano player.
Fuck yeah, it was.
Okay. And his outfits, I mean, he was a showman from the word go. His outfits and his pianos. Lord have mercy, those things had to be expensive and heavy.
Every time, and it's sad that I think it this way, but every time I hear the name Liberace,
All
the
right.
first image that pops into my head is Charles Nelson Riley from the Match Game. I don't know why.
You're
I
not
don't
wrong.
know why.
You're not wrong.
That's the first image that pops into my head is Charles Nelson Riley. And then I have to go, no, that's Charles Nelson Riley. That's not Liberace. It's like every time I see Pedro Pascal, I think Gabriel Reynolds. Wait, no.
Who?
Pedro Pascal.
Right.
He looks like a gay Burt Reynolds.
Oh, a gay Burt. You're right. Okay. All right. I can
If
see that.
Burt Reynolds was flamboyantly gay, that's what he would look like.
Yeah.
That's how he would also act.
I don't know if he was gay or not, but man, he was another showman though. He had an act put together.
He lived not too far from me for a while. I don't know, maybe 10 years. I used to drive by his house all the time. Never saw him, but used to drive by his house all the time.
Right.
Siegfried and Roy, that's who it was.
Yeah. Yeah, one of them got mauled by the tiger. I can't remember which one. Got mauled pretty badly.
No, it killed him.
Yeah.
I think he was killed by his tigers.
Okay. I just remember one of them, the tiger turned on him there, and whether it was a full-blown attack, I'm going to eat you type attack, or if it was just, swatted at him like, I've had enough of this nonsense.
Oh, okay. No, he was attacked in 2003, died in 2020. But
okay, which one was it?
Roy.
Okay.
And he had partial paralysis because of it. Dragged by the neck, leaving him critically injured with a stroke and partial paralysis. Died in 2020 from bunny quotes.
Okay. Here's something that happened that was ongoing that I did not know about until this morning. And the only reason why I knew about it was some Democrat was raising hell about it on TV. Department of Justice closes investigation into Tom Homan bribe. I did not know the man had been accused of taking a bribe.
Didn't either.
Okay. Tom Homan reportedly accepted a $50,000 cash bribe from FBI agents posing as contractors in 2024. This is prior to the election. Now, according to a report from MSNBC, which that is I thought they'd changed their name to MS Now or something like that, because they're breaking away from NBC.
I want to say it's called
because I thought I'm in my mind it came out like snow.
I think it's Mainstream Network OW.
Yeah.
I think it's MSN space OW.
Right. Anyway, FBI recorded a conversation with Homan in which he allegedly promised to assist in securing government contracts for work in the border security industry if Trump were elected to a second term. Report said the FBI and Justice Department intended to wait to see if Holman would follow through on his alleged promises if Trump were elected to a second term. However, an investigation into the matter was scuttled after Trump was elected. The administration recently closed it. Holman called the report baloney when asked about it by News Nation. FBI Director Kash Patel and Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, told MSNBC the allegations were baseless. The matter originated under the previous administration, was subject to a full review by the FBI agents and Justice Department prosecutors. They found no credible evidence of any criminal wrongdoing. The payment was delivered inside a bag from the Kava fast food chain. Never heard of Kava. Must be a very regional fast food place.
Yeah, I've
Sort
never
of like
heard of Cava.
sort of like In-N-Out's very regional, where there used to be a place up in Ohio called Burger Chef.
Oh yeah, I remember Burger Chef.
Burger Chef and Jeff. They really did have good food there.
I also remember Big Boy.
Yeah. Do you remember Spaghetti Tree?
No, didn't have
Okay.
Spaghetti Tree. But In-N-Out Burger, since they're leaving California, they don't have plans to mass spread. They're moving their headquarters from California to Tennessee. But there is an In-N-Out Burger in North Georgia.
Did not know that.
Yes.
And I didn't know In-N-Out was moving their headquarters to Tennessee.
Yeah,
I'm
and they specifically said it's because of Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, because of the taxes and crap.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't move it to either Delaware, Texas, or Florida.
I would speculate that it had to do with and I think you're thinking New Jersey, not Delaware. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's more that it's a blue state. Tennessee, Texas, and Florida are all red, and I think of those three, I think Tennessee has the lowest taxes.
You mean of the blue states?
No, of Florida, Texas, and Tennessee. I think Tennessee has the lowest taxes of the three business-wise. They won't go to New Jersey or Delaware, whichever one has like the lowest in the country. They won't go there because it's blue.
That's why I said Delaware, because Delaware's where a lot of insurance companies have got their headquarters, or at least used to.
Yeah. Well, a lot of companies have their offices in whichever of those two states. If you say it's Delaware, I'll take your word on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of companies. The company I used to work for, Spencer's, their office was in New Jersey.
Okay. Good.
Sorry, Delaware.
Yeah, because very business friendly.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Justice Department officials closed the case, citing doubts of where the prosecutors would be able to prove there have been any specific promises made in exchange for the money, and because he was not in any official position at the time of the money exchange. Okay, now, personal opinion. I think the man did it, to be honest. I think that, he obviously took the cash.
Yeah.
Okay, now whether underhandedly, in order to make this all go away, he gave the 50 grand back, Okay. Um, I don't. I think that everything got dropped because he's Trump's boy. I'm just going. I'm going to call it as I see it. Uh, I would have to see some serious, you know, do I think Holman would, scam the scammers, make promises that he never intended to keep for 50 grand? I mean, realistically, 50 grand is not that much money.
No, it really isn't.
I mean, yeah, it's a year's pay to some people. All right, don't get me wrong. But honestly, I mean, when I bought the house that I'm currently living in, I put 50 grand down on it. I I put 30% down on the house. 30, well, actually 33% down.
My surgery just cost me $50,000, and I
Right.
paid it with my debit card. I Granted, I had to jump through a bunch of hoops to do that, but I won't go there. But in the political arena, $50,000 is like a fee just to be talked with.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have to be significant for, in my opinion, for it to be a true, or I don't want to belittle it, but to say as a true bribe, you would have to be talking hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, and that can't be paid in cash.
Exactly.
It's just too big. I mean, a briefcase can carry maybe $1 million, but it'd have to be all brand new money.
Yeah, you're right. It would have to be.
People don't realize how big money is until you try and start stacking it. I mean, $1 billion will fit on a pallet.
Right. Well, yeah,
Doesn't seem like it's that much, but still,
look at the pallets, literally pallets of money we flew to
yeah.
The Middle East a couple decades ago.
Thank you, Hillary. But yeah, I mean, that was billions and billions of dollars. But again, the concept of how much $1 million is if you went to the bank.
There was, speaking of that money, there was always that rumor that some GIs, some Army guys, found one of those pallets and never reported it. They sort of divided it up amongst their platoon. Could you imagine doing that and then trying to find a way of getting it home?
No.
I
No, I couldn't imagine it. Could not fathom trying to wrap my head around that.
I could. I mean, could I imagine somebody doing that or attempting to do it? Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I know a bunch of people that would at least attempt it. I couldn't fathom being in a hostile country trying to get, we'll just say for the sake of argument, $500,000 back home with cash. Nobody knowing about it. Yes, in cash.
Yeah, and they're probably all $100 bills. So,
well, yeah, but even still, oh wow, I just sent home five envelopes. Yeah, well. Do I want to trust the postal service with $100,000? that I
we
can't say that, oh, you lost my package. Well,
right,
what was in it? Some
because
paper.
because you know those packages from overseas all get X-rayed.
Yep.
Now they don't come into the country without being inspected multiple times.
And it doesn't matter if it's a service member or not.
Right.
If anything, a service member will get under more scrutiny.
But
I would think.
yeah.
I mean, when you were in the service, did you feel like you went through more scrutiny, security wise?
Oh, with my job and my security clearance, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
So,
There, I mean, like I said, I got sent to see a shrink and had to record myself at night because I talked in my sleep and they wanted to pull my security clearance and discharge me.
oh wow,
They for a week I had to they gave me a tape recorder and it was had one button on it. I couldn't, and it was closed up. I couldn't do nothing with it. And when I went to bed at night, I had to push the button and it locked in and it recorded every sound made in that room that night, right beside my head. And every morning I had to take it back to the hospital and turn it over to the shrink.
wow.
And I had to do that for a week just to ensure that I was not talking about work in my sleep. Because if I was, they would have pulled my security clearance and I'd been, and since, you lose your security clearance in the Air Force, there's not a whole hell of a lot you can do. Even the
Right.
cooks have it. Even the cooks have security clearances.
Morning, Neil.
So, yeah, I would have been gone. They told me I would, but
That's crazy.
yeah, I ended up. I didn't lose my security clearance, man, but that was a scary week. That was my roommates. And what it was is my roommates turned me in because they said my talking in my sleep kept them awake at night. So
My wife's snoring keeps me awake at night. That's why I sleep in another room.
my mom and dad slept in separate rooms because of my dad's snoring. So between my dad snoring, my mom's crazy legs, they had to sleep in separate beds.
Well, I
So
would say that my wife's snoring has only gotten to me probably in the last 2 years. I think that's about how long it's been.
yeah. Rama Spaghetti Tree was a fast food spaghetti and ravioli place. That's all they serve, spaghetti and ravioli. And when that was the favorite place, the seniors in high school could leave the school property for lunch, and that was the favorite place for them to go because it. I mean, you literally when you walked in, I want a plate of spaghetti, I want a plate of ravioli. They handed it to you. You went and sat down. There was no waiting. The You got done eating, the bus boys come over. The the uh, they must have had a dozen bus boys in there whose only sole purpose in life was cleaning up the tables after you got done eating. There were no waiters or waitresses, just bus boys. And most of them were high school kids in the afternoons and even Pizza Hut hired a lot of high school kids. But that was back when Pizza Hut was strictly a dine-in place. They didn't do any deliveries.
Back
So,
when Pizza Hut was still good.
mhm. Yep. Yes, it was. So, but anyway, Tom Holman, do I think there's a strong possibility he took that 50K? Yes. Do I think that he actually did anything? Do I think he was fully intending to scam the scammers and, what are you going to do type thing? Yeah. Do I think he's corrupt enough though to do some stupid nonsense for $50,000 though? Throw business to somebody for 50 grand? Nah, I don't think he would be corrupt enough to do backdoor deals like that. But that's just me. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I mean,
We know he took the money.
right. But I mean, looking at the article, oh, sorry. Uh, this matter originated under the original or the previous administration, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just saying somebody else looked at it. Your department looked at it before you took over it, and you claim that there was no wrongdoing. Now, is that Patel covering up for Holman? Could be.
I would say better than even chance.
Well, if it was subjected to a full review by the agents and the Justice Department before before Patel before everybody got moved in, then I would have to some degree err on that. But yes, is it being covered up? But if you go on down to the last paragraph, Justice Department officials closed the case because he was not in any official position at the time of the money exchange. So if he was not in any official position, how is it a bribe? That's like me giving you $50,000.
Right.
How is that a bribe? Now, I'm playing devil's advocate, or
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying to look at it from different viewpoints. If he was not in a position,
but the deal is that if he got into the position, he would do such and such. That's the accusation.
would they be able to prove there have been any specific promises?
That's the pro.
Okay, I'm going to give you $50,000, Shroom, just in case you become mayor of whatever city it is you live in.
Right.
Because 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, I may need a favor. But I'm willing to give you $50,000 just in case you may decide to be appointed to a position. I don't see the logic behind it unless it was, hey, I'm being considered for this. Hey, here's $50,000. I'll hit you up later. I could see. But
right.
if he wasn't being even considered for a position, wasn't in a position,
It's not
see
so
how
much.
it can be considered a bribe. I mean, you could look. I don't even see how you could look at it from a standpoint of the restaurant itself. bribing him, not somebody going through the restaurant to bribe him. I mean, we don't have all the information,
Right.
but I'm like, okay, I could see it from this side, but I can't see it from this side.
Yeah, it was like, if Trump is elected, and if you get that position,
That's a shit ton of ifs for 50
yeah,
grand.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, and maybe that's why it was so small, but you know, I can afford 50 grand. I can't afford 2 million.
You know, we can write 50 grand off real easy, but we can't write off a couple of million. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, yeah. But again, that's a shit ton of ifs. And not only is it, will you get appointed? Will you get confirmed? Because a lot of those positions, you had to be confirmed to take the title.
Yep.
It's, oh, I would like this person to be here. Nope. Okay, I'd like this person. Well, okay. I mean, you're relying on Congress
I
to
don't know
fall
if
in
the head
line
of
with
I
your $50,000.
I don't know if the head of ICE is a confirmed position though, because I don't think that's not a cabinet position.
But again, I'm just using that as a partial argument of,
Right.
you know, wait, what? You're I mean, that's truly a long game
Yep.
with a lot of 20-sided die. I mean, is anybody in high government not corrupt? I don't
In my
think so.
opinion, no.
I don't think so. I would highly doubt it.
That's
That there's
me.
not a skeleton in every single closet in every single government building.
That's pretty much my you don't get, I mean, even I don't think there's a such thing as an elected official who hasn't done something one way or another that could be considered corruption. Anything, you know, from hiring your sister's cousin's daughter to do something to, you know, which nepotism plays, I mean, come on.
Sure.
Nepotism's a thing. And it's like I've said before, you know, every politician is corrupt. What you have to decide is how much corruption is acceptable.
What corruption are you willing to put up with?
Right. What you know, what level of corruption are you willing to say is acceptable?
Well, I'm not even going, I can't even say what level or what degree. It's how corrupt.
Well, when
And I don't remember what it was, but there was a clip going around that it was about, you know, how much are you worth? You know, if you have a price that you will accept, then you're for sale. If there's any amount other than your life, you are for sale.
right.
If you wouldn't give up your life for this specific thing, then you can be bought. You are corrupt if you're not willing to give your life to this.
Yeah. When I was a young airman, a guy that you know, you make friends quickly when you're getting into the military.
The whole
getting put
no
into it.
atheists and foxholes.
Yeah, when you're getting, you make, and then you sort of weed out which ones you're going to keep as friends. Okay. And there's this one guy that was in that weeding out process that come to me and he said, "Hey, why don't we go and do this?" And I looked at him, I said, "No, that's illegal. That would get me in trouble if we got caught." And he goes, "Yeah, but it'd only be at most 30 days in correctional custody." I'm like, that's 30 days too many. That's one day too many, you know? I'm not going to go to CC for one day, let alone 30 days. And I made the decision then that the only way I would perform anything illegal, anything that would have the possibility of putting me to jail for one, under any circumstances, would be it'd have to garnish me so much money that I could buy an island and live on it for the rest of my life in extreme comfort and never have to come back to the United States for any reason whatsoever. Which, is a financial impossibility for 99.99999% of the world to be able to do something like that. So,
Hey, Data.
there's not going to be a crime. Hey, Data, what's up? So, I'm not going to accept any bribes to do anything or anything like that. I working at a hotel, and there'd be a lot of times I'd have to work the night shift. And back in the day, I've been offered sex a dozen times. I've had more than one woman flash her boobs at me to get discounted or free rooms.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're looking at your boobs isn't going to put food on my table or pay my bills. And I'm a married man and I ain't cheating on my wife, so I'm not going to sleep with you, and I'm not going to let you give me a blow job or a hand job or anything.
Well, what you should do is you should just keep and obviously tell your wife, say, "Sweetie, I'm going to download a picture of a pair of boobs. So every time I get showed a pair of boobs, all I have to do is hold up a phone and say, I can see more than you've got." And it's free. So your boobs are not going to get you a room. I have plenty of boobs here on my phone. Thank you. And set the phone back down and go. And anybody willing to trade their body just for a room?
They'd be broke.
I know.
And not, they spent all their money out clubbing, and then they didn't save back any cash or be stupid and not get a room before they went out clubbing. And then, they're going around to hotels trying to find a place that, a flash of the nipple get them a cheap room or a free room.
Flash of nipple will get you a thumbs up. It's about the best I could do.
And see, and that thing I did is I just pointed up at the camera and said, "My boss will appreciate looking at those in the morning."
Well, that will go into the collage. Thanks.
We had one woman. She was a semi-regular guest. She come in one day and she goes, "Guess what?" I go, "What?" He goes, "My husband bought me these."
I got some new boobs.
She was proud of them suckers.
Wow.
Because she was a semi-regular guest, so I mean, She was the one of them women that don't call me ma'am, call me Martha,
Yeah.
or whatever her first name was. So, but yeah, boobies. Hey, I tell you what, I never, after working the insurance business, you got used to having women flash me boobs.
Being a motorcyclist, I got a lot of boob.
Yeah, the uh, old story of insurance sales of wives opening the doors in bath towels or naked. It's true. It happens. I thought those were just stupid stories, people dreaming. But I found out in a hurry it actually happens. You have a appointment during the day that the husband is supposed to be there and the husband's not, and the wife shows up to the door wearing oh, you caught me just as I got out of the shower. Oops, my
Funny, your
towel
hair's not
fell off.
wet.
My towel fell off. And I was like, okay.
Help, I'm stuck in the dryer.
Needless to say, I always told my wife, since I do talk in my sleep, I always told my wife about it when I got home. She got a sort of a kick out of how many out of at first it bothered her. The first time it happened, she got upset. But after about the fourth or fifth time, she's like, okay, so were they nice looking at least? She knew I wasn't going to cheat on her, so
yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Now, H-1B visas. Better than a set of power tools. Okay. Trump just made that a real expensive thing for companies to be using the H-1B visas. You know what those are, right?
Yeah.
That's where they bring in foreign workers because supposedly there's no American workers that they can hire to do the job. And again, you watch Danger TV and Australia, when they see somebody coming in on an H-1B on a worker visa, they really investigate it to ensure that there are no Australians available to do the job.
Australia is really strict. I had a friend of mine moved down there, a guy I used to work with, and it took him the better part of, I want to say, 7 years to be able to get a visa to move there, even though he was married to a Australian resident. And
wow,
when he got there, he was not allowed to work for 2 years.
Even though he was married to an Australian citizen.
Yep. And when he was allowed to go to work, he could only work part-time for like a year. And he's doing custodial work at a elementary school.
Wow.
But for 2 years, he could not work. And then that third year, he could only work part-time.
Well, I know Australia is really stupid strict just by watching, from what I've seen off that show. And that's why, it's you, if you'll hear me say, if you want to see how other countries do it, watch Danger TV. Watch how Canada does it, because they do Canada, Australia, and the United States.
Do Poland.
Oh God. Well, I don't think Poland would allow them to turn it into a TV show, but that would be great if they did.
Yeah. Or what's the other one? Norway? Or is it Sweden?
It's not Sweden. Sweden is
So it's Norway.
overrun.
Norway said, if you can't assimilate, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what they've said. You can't assimilate, get out.
Well, so anyway, Trump has raised the price of an H-1 visa to $100,000 per visa.
Per year.
Okay. That is amazingly high. H-1B visas are issued through a lottery system. The data from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services shows Amazon was the largest in 2025 with more than 10,000 visas, followed by Tata Consultancy, which handles Microsoft, Meta, Apple, and Google. That 10,000 visas at $100,000 per visa. That's not $100,000, and then you can get the visas. That's $100,000 per visa. Congress makes 65,000 H-1B visas available for workers with a bachelor's degree or the equivalent, and 20,000 more for those with a master's or higher. The problem is a lot of these degrees coming in from the foreign countries are from degree farms. The people really, and then when they do hire them in, they bring them in. There was that famous Disney thing. Disney brought in a bunch of H-1B visa holders. People trained them and then got fired or laid off. They didn't get fired, they got laid off. It was a permanent layoff, though. Well, the H-1B visa holders that they trained did their jobs cheaper. Amazon's got 10,044 visas approved for fiscal year 2025. Okay, now down here at the bottom here's the company, the 10 top ones. Surprised me to see Walmart having 2,300 of them, almost 2,400. JP Morgan has 2,400. I've never, this one company, I'd never heard of Tata, to be honest. I'd never heard of them, and this Deloitte Consulting, I've never heard of prior to reading this article.
Yeah, I'm I'm not really the person to go to on immigration. It's not going to say it's not that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just I'm fed up with our immigration practices over the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, since Bill Clinton, presidents have been promising every president, including Obama, promised to remove illegals. And for the most part, I mean, Clinton did and Obama did.
I want to say
Now,
Obama deported
well,
a shit ton of people that people just really don't want to acknowledge.
well, then too, see, Obama also changed the accounting procedures
Mm-hmm.
to where it appeared where his numbers were a lot more than what they would have been if they had not changed the way they were counting
Wasn't his
reports.
wasn't his deal? If they were turned away at the border, they were considered deported.
Yes,
Even if they weren't allowed in, they were considered deported.
right. If they got turned away at the border, that counted.
That's like showing up to the hospital, and that automatically means you have COVID.
Right.
No, I lost my leg. Oh, you've got COVID.
Or
Fuck me.
if you died in a car wreck,
You mean a
but
motorcycle accident?
but you had COVID, the cause of death was COVID. It's counted as a COVID death.
Yeah, that motorcycle guy down in Florida.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, immigration. I'm not on board with current immigration. So,
all right. Now this here is. Oh, wait a minute. I was wrong. I'm sorry. The fee is not an annual fee. It's a one-time fee that applies only to the petition. All right. So it's not per visa, but it's a one-time fee. Those who already hold H-1B visas and are currently outside the country will not be charged $100,000 to re-enter. HB1 visa holders can leave and re-enter the country to the same extent as they normally would. However, whatever ability they have to do is not impacted by yesterday's proclamation. The H-1, the $100,000 fee will apply from the start of the next cycle in 2026.
okay, the H-1B1 visas are good for 3 years.
Right.
So every 3 years they have to pay the $100,000.
Right.
Or until that person becomes a naturalized citizen.
Okay. Well,
I would think.
I think I'm going back on my. I think I'm going back here. The request by the company to bring a skilled worker from another country into the U.S. So that's making me. That's where I'm had got the idea that $100,000 fee is per visa. The request by the company to bring not to bring in skilled workers.
Right.
It says
It's
a skilled
per
worker.
person. 100,000 per person.
Right. So that's why I was going earlier. It said that was, that 10, you got 10,000 workers, that $100,000, that's a lot of money. So that, so let's add this up here, just rough adding 10,000, 15,000, 20, 25, 30, 35, 37, 40. Let's call that 45,000 H-1 visas in the and just in these top 10 companies, and they do
It's 450 million.
Okay, and they do they do a total of 85,000 visas a year. Okay. 65,000 for workers with bachelors and an additional 20,000 for master's degree. So that's 85,000 visas a year that they
Well,
grant.
that right there, with a bachelor's degree, that should be dropped. Should be a master's degree or higher.
So
Bachelor's degree is not that hard to get.
no. So what
I mean, I don't have one, but I'm saying make the education worthwhile here. I mean, that's what this is trying to do, but eliminate this bachelor's degree shit.
my wife's got the equivalent of a bachelor's degree. It's technically listed as a triple associates.
Yeah.
I think is how it's or associates with follow-ons or something anyway. But it took her 6 years to get it. I mean, that's 6 years of schooling to get it. But anyway, but what I'm saying here is that is, let's say, half of these. So that's 43,000 jobs that these college kids, American college kids, that they get out of school and the only job they can find is the barista. That may put some American college kids back to work at decent paying jobs.
Data has a good question. Is that paid after approval or is that just to apply?
It says the petition
if that visa is denied, do they have to apply again with another 100,000 for someone else?
To me,
I mean, it's like a one-time fee. Hey, here's what. Nope. You just lost that 100,000.
No, it says the petition.
See, that would lead towards corruption of no. We're just getting money by denying everybody.
It says the fee applies only to the petition, the request of the company to bring a skilled worker from another country to the U.S.
I think that's a little vague.
That
to me it seems a little vague. It's just saying we'd like to bring over somebody. I mean, yeah, you have to specify who they are and what they're for.
Yeah, you have to specify by name by the looks of it.
Yeah, but again, with the college mills out there, how are we vetting a bachelor's degree? I mean, that seems pointless.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. These college. How do we know they really got a degree?
Right, with all the college mills, university mills, diploma mills. That's the word I was looking for. Diploma mills. And especially being overseas diploma mills. You went to Hindu U? What? And yeah, that's being racist or religiophobic or whatever. But it's just throwing out a hypothetical.
You're old enough to remember the scandal years ago about the Filipino medical degrees.
Yeah,
that was a huge scandal. People were coming out of the Philippines with medical degrees that were, they could not
vaguely knew how to use a Band-Aid.
They decided to give tests to them and they couldn't pass the test to practice in the United States. It was a huge scandal years ago. Well, that was what, 25, 30 years? No, that was closer to about 40 years ago.
Yeah.
because I wasn't married at the time. So, and I've been married for 35 years. So it's got to be about 40 years since that happened. All right. But there's that. That's personally, I think that's going to open up a lot of jobs for college kids with the right degrees. That said they couldn't, that they're ending up working as baristas.
Yeah. Again, do away with that bachelor, that limitation of we're allowing bachelor's degrees. No. That's not a skilled worker. Bachelor's degree is not a skilled worker.
Again, depends on what the degree is in.
Yeah. Based on some of the things that I can do, you would swear that I have a bachelor's degree.
Oh yeah.
No.
But
And I know people that have bachelor's degrees that don't know shit about the job they have a bachelor's degree in.
yeah, I know them too. Boy, do I know them too.
And I'm not talking about dumbass college kids coming into the military as lieutenants or higher. I'm just talking about generalization. There's a bunch of people out there with college degrees in their profession that don't know shit.
I knew a guy that come out of with a hotel degree in hotel management. He knew all the right buzzwords. He knew RevPAR and ADR and all the right, like I said, he knew all the right buzzwords. Okay, ADR, average daily rental. That's how much on.
Yeah.
Okay, and then your RevPAR was revenue per available room.
ROI, yeah. Return on investment, yeah.
It's
the same in every business. It's just different nomenclature.
And they hired him in as an assistant manager. He lasted about 3 months. And he should have been gone after a month and a half, but they kept hope. They gave him another 6 weeks, hoping that he would improve. He was dumber than a box of rocks with the hammers thrown in besides.
It's weird. I've worked for 3 different companies, and all 3 companies I was an assistant manager, and I was moved around to solve management problems. It was just like, hey, we're going to hire you as an assistant manager. We would like you to come and work at this store. Oh, you solved all these problems. Huh. Let's move you over to this store and see what you do over here. Ooh, you clean that up real quick. All right, let's move you over here. It's just like, can I just stay one spot, please?
You're a good troubleshooter. Let's move you around.
They did that to me with Spencer's. They did that to me with Hollywood Video, and that did it to me with Firestone Tire and Rubber Company.
That's a pretty diversified company you worked for.
Yeah, I've held a lot of jobs in my life. A lot of really diverse. I worked as an electrician's helper. I've driven forklifts. I've worked in the medical equipment assembly field. Worked in the computer industry. Worked on a ski slope. Worked for a nursery as a mechanic. I've jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah. Well, guess who else may be losing their job?
Oh,
At
there's so
least
many I could name I wish would be losing their job, but
they are concerned that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz may lose his job. He may not get elected because he is right now he's got a 47-47, 47 approving and 47% disapproving of his job. Under half the under over half the population of Minnehaha do not like him. He's a 47% approval rating is not a bad approval rating most of the time. But when you got 47% of the state actively disapproving, not just being blah, I don't care either way, but actively saying they disapprove of your performance, that could put you in some trouble as far as getting reelected.
now isn't Minnesota the largest gathering of who is it, Somalis?
Yes.
Okay. Other than that, I could care less what happens in Minnesota.
So, well, see, the thing is, Minnesota has been a Democratic stronghold for governors now for about 50, 60 years. So,
Well,
if
with the influx of Somalis, I don't see that changing. I really don't. I mean, you can have 47% disapproval. It only takes 51 to win.
right, you're right.
You can still have 49% disapproval, and
But the Republicans are saying that they got, this is giving hope that Republicans could break that streak of Democratic control of the governorship.
yeah, but one Republican governor is not going to be able to make enough of a
No.
change to
Oh no.
keep that momentum going, or at least, put it in a position of getting two terms and then losing a term and then swapping one or two terms every time. I don't foresee, just like I
Well,
don't
that's like
foresee New
Michigan.
York ever turning. California could have a chance,
Well,
but I
California
doubt it.
used to be a Republican stronghold. Remember, Reagan was governor of California.
Yeah, but I again, I don't see uh, California going red anytime in the next four presidential election cycles. They've
I
got too
honestly,
much defense.
I agree with you. I strongly agree with you. They, especially since I mean, damn near every county in California allows the non-citizens to vote in local elections.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying every Republican governor out there is good,
Oh
but
no,
it would take a minimum of 10 years of Republican control to make a significant change in California. I mean, just
I,
in conditions.
I don't know if even 10 years would be enough.
Yeah, well, it would take more than 10 to resolve the taxation problem, to resolve, but I think it could be cleaned up as far as, a lot of the homeless problem, a lot of the immigration problem, a lot
Right.
of the
Well,
outrageous taxation and corruption. It would take
the
at least 10 years to get a lot of
the
that out.
the corruption would be the main thing because I mean, it's like the corruption in the federal government. Yeah, you could have a Republican in the top position. I don't, governor, mayor, president. All right. But it's that bureaucracy that's underneath you.
Right.
You know, you can tell them that you can announce this is what we're doing from now on. And as it was proven during Trump's first administration,
I was just
it,
going to say that. Look at Trump's
it,
first administration.
if the B rats don't like the changes that you're making, they will slowly actively pursuing those changes at best.
Well, and then, of course, every time you have a regime change, at least what we're seeing in the last 30, 35 years of Republican getting in 1, 2 terms and then getting out, and then Democrats having 3 or 4 terms, and that corruption seeps in. Then a Republican comes in for a term, that corruption's not weeded out. Then a Democrat comes back in, the corruption's still there, and then it's strengthened.
Well, it's like Monkey
it's
has
going
said,
to take that amount of time that the corruption set in for the corruption to get out. It's kind of like losing weight. Took you 10 years to gain 200 pounds. It's not healthy to lose that 200 pounds in 2 months.
Right.
It's healthy to lose it over 10 years, but you don't want to wait 10 years to lose 200 pounds. You want 200 pounds gone now. It's not healthy.
That's why my goal to lose my 200 pounds is I want to lose it over a 3-year time period.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my goal is to. I mean, honestly, I've dropped 70 pounds over the past year and a half.
Sweet. Did you happen to see the picture of one of the Slayton sisters that lost all that weight?
No,
behind that yards, and then had to have plastic surgery because all of the flabby skin.
Oh, that's real common.
Oh yeah, I mean
but no, I do
that's
not.
what I'm saying. Taking stuff to that extreme isn't healthy, and it's taking that stuff that extreme to the government is not healthy. Like just as we were discussing with the Epstein files the other day, taking that drastic, it's not healthy, and it would, you can't root out all the corruption all at once.
No,
you're going to break everything.
Because you have to fire too many people, hire too many new people to come in, and then you've got to keep some corporate knowledge around, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
you got to keep some people around with corporate knowledge.
Well. And I'm not advocating for it in any way. To be able to beat a criminal, you have to be a criminal. If you can't think like a criminal, you're not going to outwit a criminal.
Right. And sadly, one of my side jobs I had was loss prevention.
Yeah. You have to think like somebody is stealing.
And sadly, to get the job, I had to prove that I could walk out the door with stuff without getting caught.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I had, I went in for my initial interview was off property. So nobody knew I was interviewing. And the guy said, before we go any further, I need you to go in and walk out without, and this was back in years ago, where $50 worth of stuff was a lot of stuff. Yeah. I mean, it was a pricey thing. It wasn't something just cheap.
It wasn't a video game.
Right. He said, you've got to walk out with at least $50 worth of stuff without getting caught. And I walked out with like 75 or 80 bucks worth of stuff. And so I got hired in loss prevention. And I mean, we caught a lot of people, but it was only because everybody that worked loss prevention knew how to steal. And if you know how to steal, you know what to look for.
Well, and you know what steps to take to hopefully prevent,
Right.
not allow it to happen and then catch them. You know,
Short, short of doing like a lot of stores do now, put everything behind locked cages, and you got buzz a buzzer. I went into I went into Walmart, and even though I don't, haven't needed them in a long time, I noticed that they've actually got their condoms locked up now behind the glass case. I was
I,
like, you've got to be kidding me.
I had to scan my license just to buy some NyQuil.
Really?
Yeah. I said, guess what? I won't be buying NyQuil from here anymore.
Was it like a CVS or a Walgreens?
QVC, which is
Okay.
now part of Kroger. But yeah,
I remember QVC.
but yeah, not QVC. That's their drugstore. QFC.
Oh, I've
Quality
never heard of
Quality
QFC.
Foods Quality Foods Company. They are a small chain that was bought out by Kroger when they brought out Fred Meyer. And Kroger's a Southern company, or
Right.
used to be.
Well, we had Kroger in Ohio.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, because that was the thing, going to Kroger's. Okay, let's see here. A video I wanted to show that, and this is ironic. Okay, that this is actually a thing, because I've never heard of this woman. Okay, but then I'm going to be honest. I haven't kept up with country music over the past decade. All right, because I stick with my older stuff for the most part. I haven't kept up with a lot of the new country music because a lot of the new country music I don't like. This Post Malone. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's see here.
I have been making country music for a long time. But at some point, I figured out that the industry was not predisposed to being super kind to people who loved America. And that was just kind of what I found, whether it was country music or pop music. Obviously, country music is a little bit better, thank goodness. And it's come a long way even since then. But when I was told to take an American flag out of my Instagram bio, or that I had to support certain things or do.
Okay. I left the closed captioning on purpose here. Take the American flag off of her Instagram account. Her music managers, her management company, told her she had to take that out because people could view it as a politically partisan.
Well, I would bet it would be the actual agent. It's their problem. I don't think it's the company. I think it's this person's agent that said, "Hey, I need you to take that off." And I think it's because of their political beliefs as the agent, not as the company.
To take an American flag out of my Instagram bio, or that I had to support certain things or do certain things in order to get booked on tours.
In order to get booked on tours, in order to get signed to a label, she had to do that.
Yeah, I would bet that's her agent, and she needs to find a new agent.
In order to get signed to a label, there are things that ultimately you have to give up, and I wasn't willing to do that and bend the knee to that. And so with that and my college experience, which I have a story like a lot of other students where I was given an F in a class that I have only ever gotten A's in my life because of my politics. I decided that all those things happening at the same time, the elections going on, it was time to speak up. I'm Alexis Wilkins. I'm a country music artist and political commentator. I didn't end up ultimately deleting it because I refused to. The industry and some figureheads in the industry were just saying that me having an American flag in my bio was going to be seen as partisan, which is ridiculous because it's the country in which we live. It's not partisan either way, but I digress. And it was under the same lines of, okay, we don't want you posting that you're working with this veterans organization because I feel like that's partisan as well. And, it's just really heightened because of the election, blah, blah, blah.
Working with a veterans organization is partisan. I know a couple liberal veterans organizations out there. I mean, they're run by liberals. They have very liberal politics. So just because you're working with a veterans organization, this is disgusting. I really find this disgusting.
This back in 2016. And it was things that were fundamentally American and things that I wasn't willing to compromise on. So with music, you start speaking up because you obviously have your views. You start speaking up because it's necessary. With college, I wasn't outspokenly political. It was just obvious, especially to this one professor that gave me an F, that I wasn't being indoctrinated. And so when that was enough for him to give me a failing mark when I had only gotten A's the rest of the time, obviously hadn't earned it. When he gave that to me just simply for not going along with the status quo, not writing the papers that denigrated the actions of the Trump administration that I was being asked to write as part of curriculum, that was the point where I said, okay, it looks like me not saying that I'm a liberal means that I'm a conservative anyway, so I'm willing to draw a line in the sand.
And what irritates me is 1979. I was removed from a poli-sci class by the professor, by the instructor, because he hated Nixon and Reagan. And I could not hate, while I acknowledged what Reagan did wrong with the cover-up of the Watergate, which is all Nixon did was the cover-up afterwards, because he did not know about it while advance of it or during it. He only found out about it afterwards. Because I couldn't hate Nixon enough to fit this guy's idea of what a true American should. He removed me from his class. Back then, professors could do that. I don't know if they still can or not.
Oh yeah, there's one, I believe, facing a lawsuit for doing something with DEI or transgender or something, and it was college.
But I'm saying he removed me from his class. He kicked me out of his class.
Yeah, exactly. And this student spoke up, and she was asked to leave the class, and then was dropped from the class. And now she's, I want to say, she's suing both the school and the teacher.
Okay, I didn't.
And that's just been last week or so, 2 weeks maybe.
Oh. But the point of what I was wanting to show here, this is recent where showing an American flag. I mean, they'd hate whoever's telling her she has that showing an American flag is partisanship would hate driving down my street. There's only 3 houses on our street that do not have American flags on them. Okay. I would say at least a third of these houses are hardcore Democrats. Very hardcore Democrats. They do not like Trump. They had Biden Next to the American flags, they had Biden flags. At least a third of the houses. Another third, mine included, had the Trump flag flying next to it, to our American flags. Then some other houses didn't have anything, didn't have either one. So, I mean, it's just because you you can love your country and not be a conservative. But I guess according to some of these people in Nashville, if you fly the American flag, that automatically means you're a conservative. And I absolutely find that disgusting. Okay, I don't want that. I'm trying to. Okay. Now to the last thing I had on the agenda here for today, the aftermath of the Kirk assassination and the funeral yesterday. Did you watch any part of the funeral?
I did not.
You did not. Okay. It was held inside of the football coliseum there. Other than where it was roped off for the security purposes. I'm trying. Here's the. Okay. A lot of this here, information I pulled over to my X account so that I could, it was easier to find.
Yeah, if it wasn't roped off, it was standing room.
There we go. Though that is how many people, that stadium there holds 100,000 people.
Well, they're saying technically it ranks third next to MLK and JFK.
Right.
But if you take into consideration of even back in the 60s, how many people watched on TV.
Right.
But when you compare that to how many people watched around the world, how many churches were filled to the brim, how many cities were packed in the streets.
How many people did like I did, watch it from home on my computer?
Yeah. But again, how many more people not fled, but went to their churches for this, or went to large outdoor gatherings where this was shown? I mean, there's reports of huge gatherings around the world for this.
Yes.
And when you think about, the time difference, this was noon here. That's 8 p.m. in England.
Yeah.
That's middle of the night in Australia. And yet you would see gatherings not nearly this big, but impressive gatherings of this nature around the world.
Yes. Which brings me to now y'all going to have to forgive me because I got to scroll here through this. Ilhan Omar.
Looking at this is someone who was a husband I just think it was the video where it called him Dr. Frankenstein and said his monster shot him through the neck. I mean, obviously this is a person, and looking at this is someone who was a husband and a father, and in the days after his shocking death, that happened as a result of his views, or it happened as a result as he was sharing his views publicly with people, that people found it jarring to hear such criticism of that in the immediate aftermath of
what
someone's death.
I find jarring is that there's so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to.
Okay. I stopped it right there on purpose. All right. They're talking, create a day to honor him. Because a lot of people are comparing him with Martin Luther King. And I would say he was a better man than Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was a pervert. Martin Luther King had multiple affairs during his marriage. He did not live up to his rhetoric. He said a lot of great things. He gave a lot of wonderful speeches that people, still quote. Don't get me wrong there. But as a human being, as a man, he was a sleaze in his personal life. And by all indications that I've been able, that Charlie Kirk lived up to everything that he said. His private life was no different than his public life.
Would I consider him better at his cause than King? No. But as a well-rounded individual, by far. King was a phenomenal orator, and he made good arguments, valid arguments. Kirk did too.
As did
but
Kirk.
Kirk lived by what he preached.
Yes. There was no difference between his public life and his private life as far as the standards that he kept.
Right.
And that he espoused.
There you go. That's where I was. The standards is what I was trying to evoke, imply.
Right. Martin Luther King had a better platform and a much better, much more needed
Solution.
Mission.
Cause.
He was going for, okay.
It benefited more people than it didn't.
It benefited people as a whole, whereas Charlie Kirk was trying to benefit people as individuals. Martin Luther King was going as trying to benefit people as a group.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk was trying to get people, was trying to benefit people as individuals.
Yeah. No. I see where you're coming from. No, I would agree. I would agree.
Now, our one of the local city that wants to name a street after Kirk. I told him no. I went and I talked to I talked to the mayor's assistant, and I told him I was against. I said, if you want to name something after Kirk, name a meeting hall where people meet to discuss ideas. That would be more appropriate because that's how Kirk got his messages across. That was his thing. People need to be able to talk out their differences.
I could even go with a park.
So,
I
but
could
I
go
mean,
with a park, but no, and for the exact same reason that I didn't want whatever, and I'm disapproving of the police patch, but I didn't want that street named after that Arab leader or whatever.
oh, the one in Dearborn.
Well, the police patch that is now in Arabic as well
Right.
as English. But
Right,
no, they
that's in
wanted, there
Dearborn.
was somewhere that wanted a street
That's also in
renamed
Dearborn.
after some. Was that also Dearborn?
That's also Dearborn.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I don't think any of our roads should be named after anyone from another country.
But I don't naming a street after Charlie Kirk. No, it'd be, to my mind, it'd be more appropriate to name, name the, the room where you hold your town hall meetings, where you have your city council meetings, where the citizens get up and air their ideas, their, agreements or disagreements with what the government's doing.
Well, and here I go again. The problem with that is the left would cry separation of church and state.
When it comes
Because
see,
Charlie had such religious beliefs that goes against their beliefs, they would cry foul and go, no, you're doing this because you're trying to put your religion into government.
And I'm sitting here saying, no, it's because Charlie Kirk strongly espoused the idea that people need to talk out their differences, because when people stop talking is when violence occurs.
Yeah, but I don't think you should be naming town hall after a government building. But the town halls are normally held in council meetings are usually held in government buildings because they are a government entity.
Right.
It's when it gets so big, so many people turn out that they don't have room, so they have to move it to a larger arena. You could have a city of 100,000 people, and town hall meeting can only hold 5,000, and it's never full.
Well, I'm talking about the town I live in. I mean, it's not, I'm not talking about New York City or
San
Francisco. I'm talking about the town I live in. I just feel it'd be more appropriate to name instead of naming a street after him, naming the meeting hall, the room where we go in to have our meetings, and the public sits down and we discuss the issues.
King is probably the only name non-political entity. Even though he was a political activist, he was not a government official.
Neither is Charlie Kirk.
Follow me through here.
Okay.
I think King is the only non-government official that his name has ever been co-opted into government. As in buildings being named after him, or not just him, but buildings like the Hoover Building that was named after a political figure. He held office. There's
Okay, I see
there's
what
a
you're
whole
saying.
county up here named King County, and they paid and continue to pay the King Foundation to use their name on and his likeness on all of their government forms.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, they have his silhouette and his King County, and oh yeah, they have to pay a fee every year to the King Foundation to be able to use his likeness on government stationery.
I hope it's not much.
You better believe getting free money from the government. Fuck, they're getting bank. They're getting bank. Anything for King's name is getting bank. But again, I to me, that is wrong to bring a public, non-political entity into the government arena. I don't think that's right. That's like I call me old-fashioned, nostalgic, whatever. Why did we name a boat after Harvey Milk? Name it after an admiral, name it after a state, name it after a city, name it out.
Well, didn't they just rename that ship?
Yes, they did. But the fact of the matter, I mean, the USS Forrestal was given that name for a reason. Because of Admiral Forrestal. Which my father used to work for his grandson. Go figure. But yeah, I don't think a government building should be named after him. I don't. A park? Yeah. A road? If you want. But I think that, that's a town by town, city by city basis.
All right. Okay, but anyway, so
it's the name of a road. You don't see the Klan going, "Oh, this is called Martin Luther King Highway. I'm not driving down that."
When the neighboring city named a road after MLK, they changed the name of the road to MLK's, and there were people that sold their houses.
Oh,
because they said they were not
grew
going,
up in the South. I can believe it.
They moved.
There's still hardcore racists out there.
Well, it's not that they were racist. It's just they did not believe MLK deserved, because of his personal life.
And I get
did
that.
not deserve to have a major road. It wasn't just a side street; it was a major road named after him.
I get that. That's a personal choice you have to make.
So,
but again, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe King is the only one.
Well, you got some roads
been that co-opted that they're trying to do the same with Kirk. And he was not a political figure. Was it a political assassination?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
But you could also say it was a religious assassination.
But
That argument still stands.
the fact that the guy, the one bullet casing, catch this fascist on it, or words to that effect. I don't remember the exact wording that was on the casing. And the
I'm not denying that it wasn't a political assassination, but so was King's.
Oh yeah, King's was definitely a political assassination. I'm not going to dispute that at all.
But I just because King was co-opted doesn't mean we need to co-opt Kirk. I mean, that just, and again, I'm going extreme opposite direction. That's just being whataboutism. Well, they did it with King. Why can't we do it with Kirk? Man. I mean that, but it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't. It's not going to affect me one way or the other.
Okay. This is supposedly the communications between the shooter and his companion.
Reads like fanfic.
Okay. And
sounds like one person typed that up.
well, but okay. I have heard from multiple people. I have not heard this from my own ears. Let me get that up front. But I've heard from multiple people that heard recordings of this guy talking, and they said that this sounds just like him. The style in which he spoke. What he wrote here is in the same style as he spoke. And I once wrote I thought to be, is an unsigned letter to my supervisor when I was at active duty, and put it on his desk, and nobody saw me put it in. Nobody saw me in his office. Nobody saw me put it on his desk. 2 days later, he comes over and he pulls me to the side and he goes, "Okay, about this letter you wrote." And I said, "What letter?" He goes, "Listen, I read that letter, and as I was reading it, I heard your voice all the way through it."
Sure.
And he goes, what? And anyway, so your style of speaking does influence the way you write.
And I get that, but my point is like that very last paragraph or last response, and I'll wait and bring it up when you get there.
Well, go ahead. What you got?
I hope they don't find fingerprints.
Well, I worry about prints, right?
If you were worried about that, you would have wiped it off. I mean, hindsight thinking about it, no. That doesn't sound plausible. That's not hindsight thinking. Oh my! I hope there's no fingerprints left on the rifle that I stole from my father. I think
they not only find fingerprints, but what if he accidentally let you, thinking about, oh, did I wipe off the bullets? Did I wipe off the casings? Did I leave a fingerprint inside the magazine?
If you're thinking about fingerprints on the outside, you would be thinking about fingerprints everywhere. So
how many times ago have they How
You
many
collect-
times have they solved cases because they found a fingerprint on a casing or found a fingerprint on the inside of the magazine or on the side of the magazine that did, but everything else was wiped down.
yeah.
So, I
And
mean,
but
it could be
when
missed.
somebody is thinking about doing something like this, and to the extent that he may or may not have been trained in guns, it seems like he was, given the information provided.
Right.
But and then to then talk about serial numbers, and then I don't remember. Why would that? Why are you thinking about? Why are you discussing that after the fact? If you know you're doing a crime, hey, sorry, yeah, that was me, and you shut up about it. I mean, I wouldn't even say, yeah, that was me, but this reads like step by step instructions of this is how I'm going to get caught. These are the steps I did to make myself get caught. It reads like a corrupt police officer wrote this.
When I first read this, I agree with you 100%. When I first read this, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!"
Here, sign
No,
this.
you know,
I wrote it for you.
the one heck of fanfic, like you said. Okay. The only thing that has caused me to even consider maybe perhaps is multiple people saying, "Yeah, after listening to him speak, I'm hearing his voice now when I reread this." So, I'm I did not hear the man speak. So I'm not saying that is what my position is. I'm saying what other people have said, and I'm just throwing that out there for more people, for other people to point counterpoint. Okay, both.
Yeah.
You remember that old TV, that
Yep.
old
Yep.
on 60 Minutes,
Yeah.
back when 60 Minutes was actually a news program you could trust watching.
Well, we didn't have a choice but to trust watching.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
Otherwise, your news was 3 days late.
If you were lucky, yeah. Um, yeah, I miss Andy Rooney. That old crotchety old SOB. But anyway, that yeah. If this is made up, I can believe it's made up. I'm 90% saying this is made up. And it's only because of what I've heard other people say. I've got that 10% in my mind saying, yeah, well, maybe. I'll be shocked, but yeah, well, maybe. So the Democrats showed so much disrespect. All right, hit the wrong button.
I was just like, wait a minute, did we just
No,
pull a monkey?
No, I accidentally hit the camera button, which kicked me.
Yeah.
Okay. Instead of hitting the X button right next to it, I
Right.
accidentally hit the camera button. 95 Democrats voted against a resolution to honor Kirk. That should have been a no-brainer for anybody and everybody. Okay. It was like when the Democrats refused to applaud the kid with the brain cancer at the State of the Union speech. Absolutely disgusting. No, you did not have a face reveal, because even if I were to accidentally hit the camera and it would accidentally turn on, I've got tape over the camera, over the lens.
Mine's pointed over my fish tank.
No, I'm on my laptop, and I do all my streaming off of a laptop, because it's the only. I mean, I got two computers. I got this $1,300 laptop, and I got a $250 laptop. The $250 one's the one that I do all my work. The one that the money I get paid for on.
Wife was saying I should get a laptop for my adventure, and I'm just like, why? She goes, that way you can. I'm like, I've got a decent tablet that has a keyboard. I should be able to do everything I want to be able to do.
Yeah.
Emails, upload, download.
Walmart had a Lenovo that was on sale for $150 tablet. And I just primarily needed it for reading Kindle and audiobooks on, and storing cooking recipes.
Well, as long as I have a Wi-Fi connection, mine's mainly for reading news, watching videos, or playing app games. Bejeweled or Mahjong or Blackjack or Solitaire or something like that. Something to kill the time for whatever it is I'm doing right now. Because usually I'm either in front of the computer, or like when I'm going to be on my trip, I'm going to be driving, or I'm just going to be hanging out with old friends, new friends, and working around the house. I'm not going to have time to sit around and be on the computer or the tablet all the time. And and besides, I've got right now, if I turn my chair around, I can probably see 3 or 4 laptops. Now, granted, they're old, dating back to, I don't know, the early 2010s. But I mean, I've got laptops to choose from if I really need one.
Now, it just wasn't Ilhan Omar saying
politics and across the political
things which have been construed as being disrespectful of Kirk after the funeral. Okay. This is, what's his name again? Jonathan Carl. Okay. He's gotten a little bit of flack for this minute and 18 seconds, for what he said in this minute and 18 seconds.
morning. Welcome to This Week. Later today, family, friends, and supporters of Charlie Kirk will gather in Glendale, Arizona for his memorial. The 31-year-old activist's murder shocked the nation, and it was condemned by sensible and compassionate people in and out of politics and across the political spectrum. It has also been senselessly celebrated by some, a small minority who didn't like what Kirk stood for and thought it was somehow therefore justified. Celebrate.
Okay, here's the first point. A small minority. They're really downplaying the number of people that celebrated his death. He's really downplaying the numbers of people. I mean, when there's teachers from almost every state being fired, college professors all across the country, when there was, I mean, Antifa getting involved. That's not small numbers. Small numbers in relationship to the size of the country, perhaps. But that's still a large number of people celebrating his death. So that's the first thing he said here that's gotten him, that's people are looking on, have made negative comments about him. And this minute and 18 seconds. So let me back this up again.
Or justified. Celebrating or excusing violence is abhorrent. The murder of Charlie Kirk was not a political act. It was a gruesome crime.
It was not a political act. You and I were just discussing this. It is, I'm of the opinion it was a political act. It was because of his politics, not because of his religion, but because of how he was applying his religion to politics and to social norms, which isn't, politics is an outgrowth of your society, of your social norms. If it wasn't for will and grace normalizing same-sex relationships in the public, there would not have been same-sex marriages. But the TV show Will and Grace, which was intentional, normalized the idea, made acceptable to the masses the idea of same-sex marriages, which was the intention of the show from the start.
That was around the time that I really started bailing on TV.
Okay.
I mean, I've been hardcore, I won't say hardcore anti-TV. I just choose not to watch it.
Right.
Probably I would say hardcore watching TV where I had to get home and watch an episode would be as far back as the X-Files. That's when I stopped having to watch the show when it came out. And it was probably not 10 years, 15 years after that I gave up completely.
Alton Brown's Good Eats was the last show that I had to watch every week.
I mean, yeah, I liked NCIS. I liked House. But it wasn't one of those that I had to follow it.
NCIS, the last episode I watched was the one where Abby said goodbye.
Yeah.
But
again, I've given up on TV.
So yeah, I have too. I haven't watched anything on I mean, what I watch on TV is like right now I'm watching the Reacher off of Amazon Prime.
I need to catch that second season. I thought the first
Well-
season was pretty good.
I'm watching the third season right now.
Oh, they're already in the third.
So
Okay. How was the second season?
it was okay.
Okay. What book was it based off? Do you remember?
Not off the top of my head.
Because from what it seems like, each season is based off a specific.
Yeah.
And
They
I've
are.
read all of his books, the fucking killer books. If you're into reading, read his books.
Oh, I read the first 30 books, I think.
The Killing Floor to me is the best one he ever wrote.
Well, that was the one that the first series was. The first
That was
season
the
was
first
based
book.
on. Right, and that was
And
the first season.
It gave such a detail of who Reacher is.
Right.
And when they cast Tom Cruise
Oh
in
God,
the
that was
Reacher movie,
disgusting.
I'm like, dude, within in the first chapter, Reacher is described as 6'5", 250 pounds. Every single book.
Yep.
First chapter, that's who he is. Ex-military police. And they put Tom Cruise 5'5", $120.
The only thing Tom Cruise pulled off in that movie, in that I've only seen the one. I know he made a second one, I think, but I only saw the one. Was he was able to pull off some of the attitude, like the scene where in the restaurant where the girls are in the diner and the girls coming up on
Yeah, I can't see Tom Cruise personifying that the attitude of Reacher that you get from the books.
Oh no, I'm just saying no, that one scene he managed to pull off as would picture reading the book.
Okay. I haven't seen the movie. I'm not going to see
Oh.
the movie. And I just no. Even my wife, because I got her into reading the books, and to the point now, she buys it, she reads it, and she goes, "Oh, there's a new book out," and
Okay,
she'll hand it to me.
I'll tell you what another series of books then you need to read if you is Vince Flynn's Mitch Rapp series. But only read the ones written by Vince Flynn. Because when he died, his wife hired another guy to continue the books.
Okay.
So only read the ones written by Vince Flynn. Don't read the rest of them.
I need to get back into reading now that I'm retired.
So, yeah. Only read the ones written by and there's a couple of movies out there. American Assassin being one of them. With
Okay, I'll have to go back and.
anyway, I hate it when I can't think of somebody's name.
Okay, so he quit writing in 2013.
Right.
Okay. So the first 14 books are the one to read.
Right.
All right, I'll have to see if I can get them all and read them in the order they should be read.
Oh yeah, just read them in the order he wrote them.
The order you wrote them, or the order they should be read? Because it's.
I don't. Is there is there?
Yeah, 1 and 2 were written in 2010 and 2012. And actually, book 3 would have just recently come out. in the storyline.
Okay, I didn't realize. Okay, I read them in the order that he wrote them.
Yeah, there's a storyline
Okay,
order.
so
Which
but
currently
okay,
is
well, if
4,
there's a
5,
chron,
6. Yeah, it's 4
yeah,
through
read them in
13.
Yeah, go ahead and read them in chronological order.
Yeah, it's 4 through 13, 1, 2, and then 14. And that was the last book. And then
Okay.
they inserted book 3 to probably fill in any gaps at the beginning.
Okay. Yeah. Well, read them in chronological order. It's like the, for uh, fantasy style reading, I always recommend um, Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Riders of Pern series.
Yeah.
But then I tell them, start off with Dragon's Dawn. Okay. And which was actually written 20 years after she started writing the stories.
It's like Asimov's Foundation series.
Right.
That the first book in the Foundation series was written in like 54, but the prelude to Foundation, which explains the Foundation, wasn't written until like 81.
Something like that.
But it's considered, but in all aspects of Asimov's Foundation series, that is actually like 35 books long.
And I just read the trilogy. I've just got the original trilogy and I leave it at that.
All of the books tie together in some shape, form, or fashion from beginning to end. And I didn't realize it, and I came in the middle of the series. I came in somewhere in like the 70s as far as his chronological writings. I picked up somewhere in the 70s and then read almost to current and realized that we're more behind it. And then started reading backwards, not going to the beginning and catching up, but incrementally stepping backwards. So reading them backwards, going from book 5 to book 4 to book 3 to book 2 to book 1. It's like going, where does this start?
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you here for a second.
No, I'm good.
Okay, President Donald Trump is scheduled on Monday afternoon to speak at the White House about medical findings related to children and autism.
Oh, yeah, I saw a tweet something about that yesterday. Or maybe it was this morning.
Okay, let's see here. All right, so let's get back to this minute and 18 seconds here.
Alleged killer now faces the death penalty. Our thoughts this morning are with the Kirk family, especially his 2 young children who will now grow up without their father. Whatever you think of his political views, and there are many who were deeply offended by things he said, Charlie Kirk was an unwavering advocate for free speech.
Okay. Where he says here, there are many who are deeply offended by what he said. Those who are offended by what he said, a vast majority of them are offended by what he said taken out of context. Like his
100%.
statement, like his statement about the Civil Rights Bill.
Absolutely.
Things
Absolutely.
are taken out of context.
And continuingly to be forced.
Yes. So much of what he said that people say, well, look at what he said that's racist. Really? Well, you know, he said black women. No, he said those 3 black women didn't have the mental brain power. He didn't say black women in general. He said those 3 black women, which is an opinion
On
about those
those
3 individuals.
specific 3.
Yes, not about black women in general. What he said about transgenders, what he, you know, uh, he openly embraced gay people. He disagreed with their lifestyle, but he openly embraced them. He got in arguments with uh, with other Christians about the fact that he accepts gay people as friends because, as he said, Jesus spoke to the Pharisees. Jesus spoke to the prostitutes. How are you going to communicate with them if you don't speak with them?
And if we're going, which we're not, but if we're going to go with, you know, well, Jesus and Jesus, and yeah, Jesus didn't condemn anybody. You're condemning Charlie. Charlie didn't condemn anybody. He didn't agree with them. He hoped God would bless them. He didn't wish God's wrath upon them.
No.
He never say, I hope God smites you. No, he says, I hope God blesses you. Jesus didn't condemn people. Charlie didn't. I'm not saying Charlie's Jesus. Charlie just stood for what he believed, and he practiced what he believed. He didn't condemn anybody, but yet you're condemning him. I don't get it.
So,
On a personal note, he was always willing to engage with me and answer my questions. He welcomed debate with those he disagreed with. He did not try to silence his critics. He listened to them and tried to change their minds. As Charlie Kirk's body is laid to rest, that core principle is under attack in America.
it wasn't until the very end, his last 4 seconds of this minute and 18, that he actually said anything positive.
I mean, if that was an apology,
That I don't know. This was
I'd have to
his.
know what the apology was for. But if that was an apology, then
no, this wasn't an apology. This was his report yesterday morning prior to the.
I don't see anything really wrong with what he had to say.
Well, like I said, you know, there were 3 parts where people found offensive. Okay,
Sure,
and
a small
the
minority, or you know, a portion, or okay, I get it. You're leftist. I wouldn't expect any less.
No. This is where Kirk supporters said, "Why aren't you saying that this was a political assassination? This was a political assassination," and he flat right said, "No, it's not." You know, there's very strong disagreement with that.
If it's his opinion that it was not, okay. You can have that opinion. He may think it was more of a religious opinion.
He wasn't. The thing is if you listen to how he said it,
and thought it was somehow therefore justified. Kirk's small minority who didn't like what Kirk stood for and thought it was somehow therefore justified. Celebrating or excusing violence is abhorrent. The murder of Charlie Kirk was not a political act. It was a gruesome crime. His alleged...
That is the statement that has people upset. the most people upset.
Okay. It can be both. It can be a political assassination, and it can be a horrible crime.
Right, but
Gruesome, whatever.
he
But
absolutely excluded the first part though, and he was wrong to do that.
well, again,
If he wanted to say it was his opinion, it wasn't a political crime, then he should have said that in his opinion section there at the end. This first part of this, he was reporting as straight news.
again, sorry about bumping my mic. I just, I guess I just expect this kind of reporting. I mean, depending on what news I'm getting, I'm already tempered to what I know them to be. In other words, if I listen to The View, I know 90% of what is said is going to be lies.
Right.
Now, if I'm watching CNN, I would probably go with 60% are going to be lies.
Okay. Well, the problem is and the problem with this is that they've, the hardcore Kirk supporters. I was a Kirk supporter. I'm not a hardcore Kirk supporter because I didn't watch everything he said. I didn't watch every video he released. I did not attend his campus things. I don't know if he even, but
who is this guy?
he is a reporter. I think he's an ABC reporter.
Okay. I mean, obviously, I don't watch enough of mainstream news
Looking
long
at
enough to figure out who these people are. I just know the real idiots like Maddow and
looking at his coffee
Dana
mug there.
Bash
That's that ABC coffee mug on there.
I just never heard of this guy.
So
I don't even think Monkeys brought him up.
So anyway, and the last now again, like I said, I watched across the internet. I did not watch on. Hey, Digi, good morning. Yeah, because we're just about ready to wind it up. Because I'm coming up. It's coming up on 3 hours. It's
go as long as you want.
But supposedly, it's been reported by individuals that they're watching the ABC broadcast of the memorial yesterday. Prior to the speakers getting up to speak, there was a large religious ceremony, people singing hymns and such prior to people getting up to speak. And ABC didn't acknowledge that portion of the memorial service.
Why would they?
Why wouldn't they, given that Kirk's religion played such a large part of his life?
Does it play a large part of ABC's life?
but they were broadcasting. Okay, they were broadcasting.
They were broadcasting something they had to broadcast,
They,
because if they didn't,
they were
they would
just
catch so much flack over it. But they're not going to
they're-
broadcast someone else's religion that they don't like the person, and they may or may not like the religion as a corporate entity, but they're not going to get into that.
the it's not that they it's not that they didn't broadcast the hymn singing and such. They did not even acknowledge that it was going on.
Why?
Okay.
Why? Why are they going to do anything to praise the right?
Okay, and that is the point that had people angry at ABC for
Well,
not
they should be
doing.
angry at everybody.
Okay.
They should be angry at the mainstream media, period. All of them. Not just ABC, not just NBC and CBS, Fox, CNN, AON. They should be mad at every journalistic rag out there, because it's not real reporting. Everything has to have a slant. You can't have honest reporting.
I agree 100%.
I can't honestly report.
And see, I try to. It's like the deal with people saying that they could hear that man's voice as they read that stuff. All right,
Sure.
I didn't hear him talk. I don't know. I think that this, when I initially read that, I thought it was faked up. Okay. And I'm still somewhat of that opinion, mostly. But, when I'm hearing people say this, when I'm going to discuss that piece of paper, I'm going to say some people are saying that when they read that, they hear his voice talking like that he talks like he typed, like what's typed there. That's what's out there. It's like, while I don't necessarily find as much to be angry about, because I know that this guy slants everything, being an ABC reporter, it's going to be slanted in a way to play down Kirk and play up his opponents, people who dislike him, as much as they can without being totally disrespectful to him to the death. I expect it, but I'm still going to say I think this man was a piece of slime for doing this the way he did it, and point out why I said he did.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm just mad on it. Yeah, I think he missed a couple of things. Do I think he was wrong in saying it was not a political assassination? I could see him saying it was not necessarily, but to flat out say no, it was not. Yeah, I could see having a problem with that. But then you're also, he flat out said, no, I don't. It was not. He didn't say, I don't think. He said it was not. And I can see that. I was going to go somewhere else, but no, that part actually does stick in my craw a little bit, that it was a definitive. Because people are saying, oh, he was downplaying it as he was killed. No, he was murdered. No, he was assassinated. No, oh, he got shot. No, he was assassinated. No, he just got shot.
Right.
Well, technically, you're not wrong. You know, the shooter, not the assassin. I, I they did it with that Minnesota senator, the assassin, and Charlie Kirk, the murder.
Right.
And it's like, uh, you know, calling one a murder and one an assassination, where one definitively was an assassination, one could be construed as an assassination. I mean, that was more a blatant murder than it was an assassination. Dude walked up and killed two people. He didn't just kill one and try and run away. He went up and he killed two people.
Yep.
Usually those are called murders, not assassinations. Usually assassination is just one person. And usually for a specific reason. Not two people because.
All right.
Now I could be totally misconstruing relating the two, but that part does stick a little bit. But again, I mean, overall, I wouldn't have gotten in my panties in a bunch over it.
Well, okay, Digi, let me answer Digi's question here. Digi, what they're talking about is the text messaging back and forth between the man that killed Charlie Kirk and his love interest or roommate, depending. They're saying that the way he talks is reminiscent of the right, because when most people when I initially read the transcript of these text messages, to me it sounded made up, almost too good to be true type thing, you know, straight out of a you know, that's what got us talking about Vince Flynn and Mitch Rapp and anyway, yeah. So that's what got us off subject there for a second, because you know it sounded like it come out of a novel about an assassin, you know, Jack Reacher.
But like Digi asked, who talks like they type?
I do.
I'm much more polite and formal when I'm typing, because I want to be sure that I get my point across, where in real life I don't feel those constraints. Even on a stream, I feel those constraints that I can't be who I really am. I try to be.
Depending on the type of conversation I'm having, okay, my writing is very much so like my style of speaking. Especially when I'm trying to be very concise, then, you know, again, it's like that letter, you know, that letter that I wrote to my supervisor and left unsigned on his desk. He said as soon as he picked it up and started reading it, he knew that it was me that had done it, because he could hear my syntax in the writing. So, and I even typed it and printed it out on a dot matrix printer. We didn't have laser printers then. We had dot matrix still. God, I loved my dot matrix printer. I meant, you know.
Oh yeah.
That's one of those sounds kids today don't know.
That and dial up.
Yep. Well,
96 baud.
they know that because everybody brings up that dial-up sound, but nobody ever brings up the sound of a dot matrix printer.
9600 baud.
No, 90. Oh, yeah, 90. I had 33 baud. My first connection was 33 baud.
Yeah, I think my first one was, I want to say my first modem was 9600.
Yeah, my first modem was 33. Oh,
And at one something point in time, I worked for Hayes, which was a division of U.S. Robotics, and worked in surface mount technology
right.
in printed circuit boards. I was a fixer of, I was quality control.
Ah,
I
I
had to
hated being QA.
I had to do resolders.
Yuck. Yuck.
I still have floppies, Digi. I still have floppy disks, both 3 1/4 and 5 1/2. I don't
It's
have
same.
any 7. What was it? 7-inch?
Yeah, 7 and 10s. I don't have 7 and 10s, but I do have 5s and 3.5s. And I have drives that work for both of them.
I also have a tape drive.
Now I got rid of my tape drive when I got my first 5-inch drive. I got rid of my tape drive. I got rid of my Trash 80. When I got rid of my Trash 80, I got rid of that.
Oh no, these were the old Colorado tape drives. Looked like a mini cassette, but would hold like 500 megabytes.
That's about what my cassette held. I think.
mean, these
Yeah.
look like tiny cassette tapes, but they were much thicker.
Oh no, the Trash 80 you could use a standard cassette tape.
Yeah, no, this was totally different.
Okay. No, the Trash 80 used standard cassette tapes. A couple of times my roommates accidentally grabbed they'd want to listen to a mixtape and they'd accidentally grab one of my computer tapes. So I've still got all my TSR D&D video games on Eye of the Beholder and such on 3.5 inch drive, 3.5 inch disc. Yeah, I had the whole set of them. Had them all. I love those games. They were fun.
Secret of Monkey Island is what got me into computers.
Oh no, I bought a computer my first computer I bought in is either late 78 or early 79.
I didn't get mine until 89.
So,
but damn, did I buy? There was 7 years that I was buying a new CPU about every 6 to 8 months. I was cutting edge. There was a shop up the street from me, new CPU come out, cutting. We'll say at the time 486 DX 280, $149. This would have been like 91, 92, 93. But yeah, and 6 months later, the DX4 100 came out, which was a 4 o'clock 25. And sure enough, $150, $179. I was there buying it. Oh, I need a new motherboard now? Give me a new motherboard. I was cutting edge for the longest time.
I went from I quit using my Commodore system when the 386s came out. Then I went from 386 to Pentium. And because the 386 still used DOS, Pentium was the first one with the GUI. That's when Windows first came out. Because I used MS-DOS and DR-DOS. I love DR-DOS. Dr. DOS, man, I loved using that. So, well, let's go. We are now at 3 hours since we started.
I don't care.
And well, I do because I got grandson's ball game this afternoon. And
okay.
When the wife gets off work, when she walks in the door, she wants dinner on the table so that we can go straight to the game as soon as we're done eating.
Okay.
We're actually going to be using the dishwasher for the first time in probably about 2 months today. Because we'll just put all the dishes in anything that I don't have washed prior to her coming home will go in the dishwasher and let them get washed while we're at the ball game. So why did we go 3 hours today? Because we got the train jumped the tracks many times.
That's my fault.
And my fault, but then
No,
that's normal.
My fault.
That's normal for my streams. The train never, unless I'm by myself, the train never stays on track. And even when I'm by myself, it jumps tracks.
I even had 4 stories in the side chat in case we got bored.
So y'all try to have a good day. Thank you, old guy, for popping on.
Oh, no worries.
Appreciate you. Y'all, everybody, try to have a good day. Appreciate you coming out and listening to us ramble. And today, I have no intentions on discussing anything more dealing with Charlie Kirk now. He's been the topic of subject of discussion every day for the past week. Because I came online the day he got shot, which was the day I normally don't stream. And I streamed as soon as he got shot, I was booting up, getting ready. I was coming online for it. So
Well, for the most part, I'm always around. I may not always see a message, but I'm always around.
But I don't plan on discussing Charlie Kirk anymore unless idiots in Congress do something or somebody. There's going to be plenty of streamers and YouTubers and other people making stupid ass comments. I'm going to ignore them for the most part. Unless it's somebody major or a Congress critter. By the way, Kimmel's getting his show back.
Oh.
Okay. Kimmel's going to get his show back. The big holdup right now is Disney wants him to apologize for his comment, and he's saying he won't.
wanted to have a meeting at 10:30.
So chances are good though Disney will cave on that, but that's something that they want him to apologize. So
My wife just came downstairs and said she hates stupid people and she has a meeting at 10:30. My wife doesn't come downstairs to tell me stuff. She usually texts me. It must be bad.
At 10:30.
Yeah, it's 10:17 here.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right. You're on Mountain Time.
No, I'm Pac.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
Pac Coast time. I'm Seattle.
Oh, okay.
Sadly, I'm Seattle.
That's right. That's right. I thought you were a little bit further east than that for some stupid reason.
No, I won't even say I'm Seattle. I'm Washington. The whole state fucking sucks.
I've heard the eastern part isn't as bad as the western.
Yeah, but it's still attached. So
Yeah, well,
it's kind of like Eastern Oregon wants to be part of Idaho.
right.
I mean, like in the worst way. And Washington isn't too far away either. No joke, both Eastern Washington and Eastern Oregon want to leave Washington and Oregon.
Yeah. Well, it's like Northern California wants to leave Southern California.
Best they could do is become another state, which that ain't going to
Yep.
happen. And then the only other thing is to merge with Nevada, which is 90% owned by the government.
Yeah. Well, what would happen would be, and if DC were to become a state, then it would have to be tied with another state that would be a bit more on the conservative side, which would be Northern California. That's the only hope for DC and Northern California of getting statehood.
Well, that will also prompt Washington and Oregon, I guarantee it.
So instead of 2 new states, we'd get 4 new states.
Both Eastern Oregon and Eastern Washington are very, very right leaning.
All right. So anyway, we'll keep talking here. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. Try to stay out of trouble. And as always, be with the ones you love and love the ones that you're with. All right.
Sidetracked on the exit. Y'all have a good one, folks.
All right. Y'all be good.